Am I the a-hole for never disclosing to my grandchildren's father how much I plan to give my grandchildren toward their futures? My daughter died when my 2 grandchildren were young. My son-in-law remarried and created a blended family of his, hers, and theirs. My husband and I knew our daughter had left some money in a trust for our grandchildren's future, but she was young when she died and didn't have a lot to leave them. So we decided to make sure they would receive a very comfortable amount from us once they reached 18. This was to help with college, or pay for a house, or to allow them the ability to train for their dream careers. We never told our son-in-law. This was done so we would not be asked to split the money between all the children, and so our grandchildren would not be prioritized less by their father or his wife. This money was not supposed to act as child support or money for the household. It's for my grandchildren. Our oldest grandchild graduated 2 years ago, and we gave her access to the money, and she never told her dad. Our youngest grandchild graduated this year and was quick to set up a high-interest savings account, and he made the choice to skip college to pursue a different path toward his career. This led to a conversation where my son-in-law learned about the savings. My son-in-law's wife was furious with my husband and me for not disclosing the money to them years before. My son-in-law was hurt we chose to do this instead of giving something to all the children. He said that us not telling him added to his hurt because he had hoped we would want all the children to have the same start in their adult lives. He felt like we should have told him so he and his wife could plan accordingly. My youngest grandchild moved in with us after the trouble started, and both my grandchildren have discussed the issue with their dad several times. But he still insists my husband and I should have told him. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. It's plain to see that your original plan was wise. You'd have been having to deal with this endless, rude entitlement the entire time. The kid's dad literally did everything they expected to a T. He could not have been more predictably selfish. Thank goodness OP did things the way they did. I'd make it clear how disappointed in him they all are for being so cravenly greedy. And at least the kids are over 18 now, so they can disappear like they did. It's very sad to see a family splintered like that just because of money. You'd think the father would be glad that the older 2 were financially secure, thanks to their late mother and their grandparents. It meant that their father would be able to provide better for the younger ones. You were right to do what you did. He did expect you to give to not your grandchildren, who you owe nothing to because they aren't your family. If he keeps having a tantrum about it, he's going to lose your grandchildren, not the a-hole. I fear that has already begun. They're not happy with the reaction their dad had to all of this. I'm sorry for the loss of your daughter, but I feel you need to point out to your grandchildren's father that the playing field between his kids will never be equal. Your grandchildren had to grow up without their mom. His other kids have 2 parents. The money you've given to your grandchildren is basically you giving them what your daughter would have if she were still here. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that I am going back on our agreement and I don't care if he cries about it? My husband and I, both 32, have been together since we were 19. Our entire relationship feels like it just blew up in my face basically, and I can't tell if I am overreacting. So, we both wanted 1 child, and we have planned this for years. We wanted everything perfect first. The home, the careers, the savings, the investments, the nest egg, etc., etc. Because we both knew from very early on that once we had a baby, I would be staying home full-time and raising our child. His brother's life was unfortunately cut short by a daycare worker when he was just 5 months old, back in 2017. So daycare wasn't an option basically, and we needed to make sure our ducks were in a row, so I could stay home and be a full-time parent. 2 years ago, we were sitting on $500,000 in investments, a few nest eggs in different types of savings and bonds accounts. We bought the house. We even bought a damn boat. Everything we planned for fell into place finally, and we started trying for a baby. We now have a perfect 4-week-old daughter. I have been out of work since I was 5 months pregnant due to placenta abruption, but otherwise everything went fine. She's perfectly healthy, was a good weight, and I bounced back from the delivery fairly quickly because of how much of a support system my husband was. He did more than his fair share while still working full-time, which is partially why I cannot tell if I am being dramatic or if this is hormones or PPD or whatever. Like, I am legitimately livid. So basically, earlier this afternoon I get a phone call from DHHS to go over health insurance options and whether or not the baby is eligible for state insurance based on our income. I had already given DHHS all of our info, social security numbers, DOB, etc. when they called yesterday and was just waiting for all our info and assets to be pulled. Anyway, she calls and says we aren't eligible because my husband makes too much money and that we will need to add her to our private insurance. Absolutely no problem at all. I kind of figured that anyway. But then she offhandedly mentions that my husband is making $10,920 monthly gross and that the cutoff for state insurance is $7,830 monthly gross. Well, here's the issue. For months, my husband has been telling me that he only makes $6,000 a month after taxes. So I get off the phone and I log into my husband's computer and into his banking, and sure enough, his monthly take-home is bordering around $8,500. He is transferring everything over $6,000 into an account I didn't even know existed. So I call him out on it, and he breaks down and tells me that he just wanted something that was only his. Please keep in mind that all of my money has always gone into our joint account that he uses on a daily basis. So he is hiding money from me so he can have his own money while plugging away at mine. Over $45,000 he has sitting in that account. While telling me last week that we couldn't have steak for dinner because spending $38 on 2 steaks was a waste of money. So I told him I am putting the baby in daycare and going back to work because obviously I need to safeguard myself if he is hiding away money. Something feels off about it, I don't know. He instantly started crying, see above for daycare trauma. But I truly just don't trust him financially anymore. I no longer feel secure here. I said I changed my mind and I don't care if he cries about it. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It appears to me that he has already gone back on your agreement by deceiving you about his finances. If he wanted something that was his, you could have agreed to have separate personal accounts as well as joint accounts that fund your regular expenses. Why didn't it occur to him that you might want something that was just yours? I wouldn't trust him either. With that kind of money, if he doesn't want your child in daycare, perhaps he should pay out of his funds that he has been hiding whatever the extra would be for a nanny. Yup. If he doesn't want the kid in daycare, $45,000 is a good start on a nanny. Not the a-hole. Yeah, there are some red flags here and you should definitely start looking out for yourself. Boundaries are important. Hiding money after years of shared finances is a huge breach. This is financial infidelity. You trusted him with all the money, and he went behind your back then literally cried about it. He's not upset he did it. He's just very, very sorry he got caught, and there will be consequences. Financial infidelity. I didn't know that was a thing. My wife would hide money from me all the time, or lie about spending it. Spent $100,000 in 3 months. Blew through $10,000 FEMA gave us to fix our house. Definitely felt like the same betrayal as cheating. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad his new baby isn't my grandparents' grandchild and he needs to accept they won't be honorary grandparents for his new baby? My mom died 7 years ago. I, 19 male, was 12 and my sister, 21 female, was 14. After mom died, things changed in the family in big and small ways. My dad had never been close to mom's family. They were civil, but never considered each other family. My dad always said he would happily skip family celebrations with mom's family if she had been okay with it. He never felt like he needed to be there. With mom gone, he stopped going and let us be over there without him as much as we wanted. Our grandparents and other family were never bothered by this. Last year, my dad remarried. His wife has a 6-year-old, and now they have a baby together. My dad invited my grandparents, aunts and uncles, and my cousins, 16 or older, to the baby shower for the new baby. They all let him know in advance they would not be going, and they asked why they were invited in the first place. My dad said he figured they would treat the new baby and his stepchild like family, and they said no. They told him they had no reason to have a relationship with his child. My dad still expected them to send gifts, but they didn't, and they didn't congratulate him when the baby was born. He complained to me and my sister a few times, and we told him we didn't get his reaction. so he'd bring up how we're their grandkids, and for the sake of family harmony and making us feel like a family, they should be inclusive. A couple of days ago, Dad and I ended up arguing about this very thing. He was bad-mouthing all the family members, and he said they were helping maintain the distance between me and my sister and the baby. He said he knows we don't see either child as our true sibling, and our family could help with that. And he said they should be happy to have more grandkids. I told him he needs to get over it, because his new baby isn't their grandchild and isn't their family. Dad told me that's the choice they're making and blood doesn't need to be involved. I said they have nothing to do with the baby and never will. And he's the only person, other than his wife, who expected any different. My dad went on a rant about how I'm viewing it poorly and how I should be expecting a relationship between my family members. He said I am supporting the exclusion of a baby and a young child. Am I the a-hole? You and your maternal family are the a-holes. He lost his wife. It wasn't something he planned to happen. He's trying to rebuild his life. He can do that and still be close with the family of the woman he planned to spend his life with before she died. Your maternal family cutting him out of their lives for the most part, and you having an issue with him trying to live after loss, is really crappy of you. He didn't kill your mother, and he suffered too. Grow the heck up. That's your sibling. You should also have an issue with your grandparents being less than accepting toward them. He was never close to my mom's family. He never saw them as his family. The only reason he went when Mom was alive was for her feelings, but he was hoping he would have stayed home otherwise. He's not a stranger, but they have nothing to do with each other. Other than my dad inviting them to the shower, they had not talked in years, so I don't know why you'd expect them to reach out and congratulate him. He's not a friend or a family member to them, and he has stated they're not his family. He also never reached out to congratulate any of them on weddings or babies since Mom died. Not the a-hole. Your dad's deluded. Plus the fact there's a massive age gap between the kids, of course they won't be close. You see this even with full bio siblings. My oldest brother is 12 years older than me and we barely speak. And we're both adults, haha. It's just life. My oldest brother is 12 years older too. I love him dearly, but we rarely talk. We see each other every few years. We haven't lived with each other since I was 6, and that was 41 years ago. Of those 41 years, we only lived in the same state for about 7. It's hard to have a really deep bond under those circumstances. Last story. Am I the a-hole? Brother-in-law and sister-in-law are cutting us off for not caring about their children's well-being. Wife and I got married back in January. We had a small wedding, about 30 people, at a venue that was not very kid-appropriate, even though I don't feel that's relevant. We don't have kids and had kindly asked that the event be adults only. My wife's brother and his wife were invited and have 2 kids with whom we are not close. We basically see them once a year on Christmas or Thanksgiving, despite them living only a couple of hours away. Long story short, they got upset that we didn't explicitly invite the kids. They never reached out until a day before to tell us they have strong feelings about the kids not being invited, and ultimately ended up telling us they have found it impossible to have a relationship with us, etc. Now, just for the record, anytime we were in their city, we reached out to try to hang out, and there was always a reason they couldn't. Her mom is in town, they are going to a golf tournament, etc. Basically, it feels like the only time we would hear from them or see them was because they needed something, but no effort was ever put in for anything else. The same goes for my wife's parents. They get asked to babysit constantly, even though that often requires a few hours of travel and whatnot. A good example, they went overseas a few months ago and only wanted to take 1 kid, so they asked someone to stay in their house with the other kid. Again, they don't ever come visit. They don't even call unless they need a babysitter. We lived in the same city as my wife's parents until this month and saw them often. We had a dog that was not able to be boarded for various reasons, so if we were unable to find another pet sitter, we would ask them to watch her for a couple of days if we needed to go out of town. In the years we have been doing this, we have rescheduled our travel plans to make sure that we didn't ask them to look after the dog when they were going to be taking care of the kids. Fast forward to a few months back. We made plans to go out of town for a couple of days, months in advance, and we had no pet sitter available, so we asked them to watch our new puppy, who also can't be boarded yet. They said no problem, so we booked our airfare and got everything lined up. About 2 weeks before we left, brother-in-law and sister-in-law reached out to my wife's parents because they wanted to go out of town that same weekend to go to a friend's graduation and didn't want to take the kids. Now the kids are young, and the puppy has not gotten to the point where we feel comfortable with him around small kids. 2 reasons for that. 1, we wouldn't want him to hurt one of them. And 2, we know that if the dog and kids are there and have to be kept separate, the kids will take priority, of course, and he will likely be locked up in a bathroom or something the whole time we are gone. We explained the situation and were asked to move our travel plans or allow them to watch the dog and kids, which again we think is a bad idea. So ultimately we put our foot down. Maybe it's selfish, but we already had plans from months ago and have constantly rescheduled to accommodate the kids. My wife received a text from her sister-in-law talking about how they really need our help and they just can't find babysitters where they don't have to worry about sexual abuse among the pages she sent. Again, we told them it's a bad idea. We are sorry that things didn't line up this time, but it's really not up for negotiation. My wife is convinced that if one of the kids got hurt, they would literally sue us, if that gives any context. After a bunch of these messages trying to guilt us, my wife had enough and stopped responding. Neither we nor my wife's parents heard from them for months. My mother-in-law tried to reach out and they never responded. So for her nephew's birthday a couple of weeks ago, she sent him a card with a gift card. Today we got a package from them. Inside was this unopened card and a handwritten note that said, "We are returning your gift so there is no misunderstanding. We are no longer allowing you access to our children and you will not have contact. The decision is due to the ongoing lack of care to our kids as a part of your life and your lack of care over their well-being with our recent trip. Given this, we are not accepting gifts from you. You are welcome to contact my husband for further clarification. We wish you well." So I'm trying to get an outside perspective. Are we the a-holes? Not the a-hole. They seem like the kind of people that it doesn't matter how many times you have bent over backwards for them. All they will remember and care about is all the times you've said no or inconvenienced them, regardless of the reason. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if later on in life they come to you for money or some sort of support. Exactly my feeling. We have accommodated them a lot, but a couple of times we didn't, and now this garbage. Why are you still trying for a relationship with these people? You are spending a lot of time, energy, and emotions on people who really don't care if you live or die. You have your own little family. Enjoy your wife and dog, and let these people do what they do without your involvement. They only want you when they need something. As soon as you say you can't do something, they hit you with abuse. Stop engaging and cut them all off. Mom did it with Dad's family, and we didn't notice the lack. Yeah, I honestly don't know. It's really just the kids as the reason we have tried. That said, it's not worth the mental drain at this point.